You know, we're all fascinated by stories of creation, right? But have you ever stopped to think about what happens after that spark of life? Well, today we're diving deep into that very question by looking at two of the most powerful creation stories in Western culture: the divine act in Genesis and the, well, monstrous birth in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Now, on the surface, they seem like they couldn't be more different, but if you peel back the layers, you find they're wrestling with the exact same timeless problem. And that's the question, isn't it? It's the one that haunts every creator, from gods in ancient myths to the scientists in our labs today. What is our responsibility when we bring something new into the world? We're going to see how this all plays out through the eyes of two very different creations, and we'll start with one of the most tragic figures in all of literature. So, let's meet him. This is Victor Frankenstein's creature. He's literally stitched together from dead flesh, and then at the very moment he takes his first breath, he's abandoned. His entire existence is shaped by this one singular, crushing pain: loneliness. His plea isn't for power, it's not for money, it's for an end to his miserable, absolute isolation. And what's really incredible is that this exact same thought is spoken by the other creator in our story. Before anything goes wrong, before the snake or the apple, the God of Genesis looks at Adam in paradise and says that his solitude is the one thing that's not good. And that right there, that's the common ground. That's the thread that ties these two epic tales together. Okay, so how? How did two stories that start with the exact same problem, this problem of loneliness, end up in such wildly different places? Well, the answer is right there at the very beginning. It's in the act of creation itself. Because it turns out that how you make something, and maybe more importantly, why you make it, that sets the stage for everything that comes after. And when you look at the spark of life for Adam and for the creature, whoa boy, the contrast could not be more extreme. In Genesis, creation is this deeply personal, intimate act. God doesn't just snap his fingers and make Adam appear. No, the text says he forms him from the earth, like a sculptor with clay, and then breathes life directly into him. It's gentle, it's intentional. The very first thing Adam ever experiences is this profound connection with his maker. Now, let's flip that coin. The creature's birth is all ambition and terror. Victor Frankenstein's first reaction isn't connection, it's disgust. He runs away in horror. And you can hear it in the creature's own words. From his very first breath, he says he is detested and spurned by the one who made him. And when you put them side by side like this, man, it really gets to the heart of it. God creates to have a companion, to have someone to tend the garden, and he makes life from simple dust. Victor creates for his own ego, for personal glory, and he builds his creation out of dead things. One act results in a living being. The other, a negligently bestowed spark that the creator regrets the second it happens. But, creation doesn't just stop with the first breath. What about the world these new beings wake up to? Do they open their eyes to a paradise made just for them, or to a cold, hostile prison? So, Adam, he opens his eyes and he's in Eden, a paradise literally designed for him. It's a world overflowing with beauty, with food, with purpose. His creator didn't just make him and then, walk away. He prepared a home for him, gave him a job to do, and a very clear structure for his life. And the creature's experience? Yeah, not so much. He wakes up on a cold table, alone, instantly abandoned. His world isn't a garden, it's an icy, hostile wilderness. He's basically born a refugee, and his only companions are the wandering spirits he begs to either keep him company or just end his misery. And you can just feel the pain in his own words here. He says his only refuge from a world that hates him is the desolate emptiness of nature. Unlike Eden, which was built for Adam, the creature's world is a place he has to hide from. So, you've got these two beings, one in a paradise, one in a frozen wasteland. And this is where their stories crash right back into each other. Because despite these vastly different beginnings, they both arrive at the exact same universal crisis. And it all boils down to something so incredibly simple, so human. It doesn't matter if you're in a perfect garden or a desolate landscape, the cry is the same: I am alone, and it's not good. And how each creator responds to that cry, well, that's what changes everything. So the creature, he tracks down Frankenstein, And what's amazing is, he's not there for revenge, not at first. He's there to make his case. He argues with his incredible eloquence that his soul was once filled with love and humanity, but that goodness is being destroyed by his agonizing loneliness. He's just begging to be heard, to be seen as a person with a story, not just a monster. He's basically saying, understand me before you judge me. Acknowledge my pain, and then you can decide if I deserve to live or die. And then he lays it all on the line. He puts the choice squarely in Frankenstein's hands. Give me a companion, give me a chance to have a harmless life, or I promise you I will become the monster you already think I am. The responsibility, he says, is entirely on the creator. All right, so here we are, the big moment. Two creators, faced with the exact same plea from their creations for a companion. How do they respond? This is the turning point, where everything is decided. First up, God's response. It's immediate. He doesn't even wait for Adam to complain or make a big speech. He just observes, identifies the problem himself, and decides on the solution. He sees the loneliness and takes direct responsibility for fixing it. And his solution? It's another beautiful, careful act of creation. It's deliberate, it's thoughtful, and it ends with him personally presenting this new companion to Adam. The whole thing is just an act of care and fulfilling a need that he himself recognized. And Frankenstein's response? It's the exact horrifying opposite. It's pure rage. It's violence. It's just denial. Instead of listening, he screams curses at his creation. Instead of helping, he wants to destroy it, to literally extinguish the spark and undo his own work rather than take any responsibility for it. And the outcomes, well, they're just night and day, aren't they? One creator's choice leads to community, to that famous joyous line, bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. The other's choice? It unleashes this horrific cycle of revenge and destruction that ends up consuming them both. You know, the real tragedy here is that Victor Frankenstein, he does get it eventually. He has this moment of clarity where he finally understands his duties as a creator, but it comes way, way too late, after his choices have already destroyed everything he ever loved. He gets it, but only when he's standing in the wreckage of his own life. And that's where this whole thing just smacks us right in the face today in our world. Because we are creating things all the time. We're building artificial intelligence, we're editing genes, we're creating entire digital worlds. These old stories, they're not just stories. They're a warning. They force us to look at our own creations and ask a very serious question. Are we going to be like the God of Genesis who listens and provides? Or are we going to be like Frankenstein who creates something and then abandons it in fear? The question for us is, what will we do when the things we make turn to us and say, I am alone?